The first thing you don't need on your executive resume are job positions and outdated information about yourself that are older than 15 years. At this point in your career, you have built up quite a history of companies, positions, and accomplishments. You might be wondering, so how will I fit all in just a couple of pages? Fortunately, you really don't have to. What matters most in your executive resume are the experiences you've had in the last 15 years, and list no more than 3 or 4 positions, give or take. Because experience is longer than 15 years while you are manager or engineer or accountant can really present an outdated version of you to the employers and executive recruiters. These responsibilities are no longer representing your current competence and who you are as a leader today. Always have your audience in mind. They are the executive recruiters. They are the CEOs, presidents. They only want to know what you have been doing lately. So the older a position is, the less the hiring manager will prioritize it, unless it directly relates to the job you're interviewing for. The keyword here is be relevant. Instead, you want to use the limited resume space to tell a compelling narrative and showcase achievements that align with the position you are applying for. You want to present a brand of yourself for the next position you want, not who you used to be 15, 20 years ago. So what can you do about experience that are older than 15 years? And if you still want to highlight your full career progression across 25 years, let's say, you can still summarize these positions, segments, or organizations you worked for from 15 years earlier in just 1 to 2 sentences. This allows you to provide a brief overview of your early roles without overshadowing the primary focus of your more recent and relevant experiences. The next thing you should avoid on your executive resume are too many soft skills, and this is how it looks like. Skill set: communication, strategic thinking, problem solving, team empowerment, team motivation, integrity, empathy, delegation. Now you might be thinking, Tiffany, isn't leadership primarily about soft skills? Yes, that's true, but only to a certain extent. Many candidates tend to overdo it, and executive recruiters are well aware of this. If you list too many soft skills, this can actually harm your credibility. You want to have a balance. What I typically advise is 1/3 of soft skill and 2/3 of hard skill. And if you choose to include soft skill, you want to make sure that they are demonstrated in your achievements. Do not just state them as keywords. In your track records, show your soft skill through tangible accomplishments. In fact, I have created an entire video of how to transform your main achievements into compelling stories that set you apart, and you can check it out. The next thing you don't need on your resume is career objective. So if you're applying for an executive position, you must understand the importance of communication. Your executive resume should be seen as a piece of communication. So the key to any successful communication is you understand your audience and you communicate with your audience in mind. So what's wrong with a career objective? A career objective focuses on what you want from the employer. This actually indicates a lack of communication skill from your side, and you do not understand the employer's perspective. It's all about you. You're not making it about them. And not only this, also having a career objective can actually limit your opportunities. If you apply for a position that does not precisely match what you have stated as your objective, it actually sends a signal to the employer that it might not be a right fit for you. What has worked out for me when I was applying for the vice president position, and eventually also I got it, is that I replaced the objective section with a leadership brand. What I highlighted was what I bring to the table, how I can add value to the company, and I was articulating what I stand for in alignment with the company's purpose, mission, value, and their needs. The next thing you don't need on your executive resume are job descriptions. While listing job responsibility works when you apply for middle management positions, but you will not stand out for executive positions if you do the same. Because when you are focusing on responsibilities rather than listing your accomplishments, this raises a red flag. This shows that you are doing rather than achieving. So what is the difference? Doing means you write something like this: drive operational excellence, establish the manufacturing standards, and led initiatives to enhance product quality. And this is how achieving looks like. Spearheaded a quality enhancement initiative that resulted in a remarkable 35% reduction in warranty and goodwill expenses. secured industrial-leading status in operational standards. Executives are expected to lead and drive results, and the second example I showed you tells a much more compelling story of yourself. The reason for that is it not only demonstrates a proactive approach, but also showed you've made an impact and difference in the company's profitability and bottom line. The next thing you really want to pay attention to is using company-specific acronyms, especially if you have been working in the same organization and using these acronyms for the past decade. Don't assume it is common sense that these people who read your resume should understand what these acronyms stand for and why they are even worth mentioning. Make sure to write out the full phrase to ensure there's a clarity for different audiences. Next, take out personal information and irrelevant hobbies. Everyone has a hobby, whether it's biking, hiking, or gardening. Most people believe that the more unique their hobby is, the more it will make them stand out from the other candidates and get them an invitation to an interview. However, I can honestly tell you that when I was recruiting, I don't really care and don't even read how you spend your free time. The same goes to the number of children you have and marriage status, especially when I have hundreds of resumes to choose from. The recruiters have deadlines, business critical positions to fill. They have challenges that need a solution, and they have workload from a hiring manager that needs someone to take care of. We all know that recruiters spend about 6 to 8 seconds reviewing a resume before they decide whether it is suitable for a vacancy or not. And the number is over 80% of the resumes do not get shortlisted by recruiters. What does that mean? Is that they do not make it past the first screen. So you really want to have this number in your mind, 6 to 8 seconds on your CV. And therefore, you want to save details about your personal information for later, not on your resume. The next thing you don't need is your mailing address. I know it used to be a standard practice. However, if you are pursuing an international career with a willingness to relocate or work remotely, actually adding your mailing address is not necessary at all, and it's better to leave it out. I know that most of you watching my channel are seasoned leaders working in a global organization, and it's likely that you have already lived in multiple continents or countries, and you are probably open to the right opportunities, provided that the compensation contract conditions aligns with your expectation. Normally, it comes with a full expect coverage for your family, housing, kids' education, etc. So in this context, listing your mailing address is really unnecessary. So on my own version, what I have done is to only include the city and country where I live with a note to show that I open to relocate. This gives the recruiter an idea of my time zone and also show them that I have an international background and I have lived abroad. The next mistake is so common is you write first person pronouns. It is your resume. Everything on this sheet is about you. So instead of writing, I managed 12 employees, just put managed 12 employees. Having my resume right is just one step that got me to the vice president position in the 2 largest organizations in Sweden. And if you are serious about advancing your career to the senior executive level this year, submit your application to the 1% Academy program where you'll be coached by me and learn all the steps I took. Not only that, you will also network with other like-minded leaders with international backgrounds. Go to inspiremyday.org/apply or click the link in the description below to book a free strategy call with myself or my team. For now, I will leave you with this video to learn how to write an executive resume properly. I'll see you there.